Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, which means it's time for our live feed. And we're going to talk to you today. I've got Big Country, otherwise known as TJ. But this Big Country name is just taken off, so we love it.
Yeah, it has.
So Big Country and I are going to talk to you about some new products that we've got coming up. This week or next week is going to be the Apex show and the SEMA show. So we're introducing some new products to SEMA this week. If anybody's going to SEMA next week, stop by our booth. It's your chance to ask questions. I'll be there. We'll have whole staff there. Even questions about lubrication specialties, about Hot Shot Secret. We'll be delving into some of the private label things that we do. We are at booth 40009 or 40,000 with a 9 on it. So there's a lot of booths when you get up to the 40,000 range. So what's going on this week, Big Country?
So first off, let's start off with a web special. Stiction Eliminator orders $50 or more get you a free 4-ounce bottle of our Diesel Winter Anti-Gel. If you have not started Diesel Winter Anti-Gel in your system, you're probably in trouble since most of the country has been freezing cold the past couple of weeks. If you have a Stiction Eliminator order of $99 plus, you get 2 free bottles of 4-ounce Diesel Winter Anti-Gel. Also, we'll be giving away free product Fridays, so post your questions below, and we'll select some of the participants to win some free gun oil.
So our new gun oil. That'd be exciting.
That would be.
Exciting. And if you have questions about anything that's related to lubricants or even engines, we're not necessarily mechanics as much as we are tribologists. Feel free to call or to send in a question on Facebook. You know, sometimes people have a question about the engine oil that's going into their lawnmower, or why do they ask me to put a 0W20 in my motorcycle. We'll be glad to explain some of those things to you. It doesn't have to be just about our products. We're here to answer your questions and to bring your education level up. So first product up, we're going to talk about gun oil.
First thing, probably one of my favorites since I am
a gun enthusiast.
I'm an American. That's what I am.
An American.
So I love my guns, love my country. So yeah, the first thing let's talk about is our Bore in Action Nano Lubricant gun oil. A lot of people have seen the Fitzgerald commercial going around, what we have made, where a lot of people who don't understand why they need a good gun oil is because a lot of times with like the Bore in Action, you got times that things get gummed up in there, get sticky, and your gun starts malfunctioning, misfiring. And this is one of the products I actually got to try before anybody else. So I knew what was coming, and I was excited about it. And now that it's here, it's just something great. And like most of our products, you've made it into something that is far beyond what anybody else can do.
And how we came up with that is when we're working on different chemistries and doing a lot of different testing, which that's always going on 365 days a year. We're sending things out, and we're always trying to push the envelope on lubricants or tribology. But one of the things that we stumbled into was one of our formulas seemed to be a really good slide action type product. One of the problems with gun oils is that they burn off, obviously, because the gun gets hot, and it leaves behind a residue, which then slows down the bolt leaving the chamber. The other problem that we ran across talking to gun enthusiasts, which we didn't have to go far, is that when you're hunting, you're in different climates. So if you lube up your gun and it's in August, and then you're out there in November and you fall asleep in the tree stand and you wake up and it's freezing cold.
Never.
And then you finally get the shot, everything jams up because the oil has solidified or it's gotten too thick to make everything work right. So what we did was we used a full synthetic Group 5 base oil, what's called an ester, because it doesn't get thick when it gets cold. That's one of the unique properties of an ester. The other unique property is that it's very polar. So it wants to stick to metal and bring things to it. We went from there and we added in the Nano Lubricant, thinking that one of the really unique selling propositions of a Nano Lubricant is it's got really good sliding action, extremely good. I mean, better than anything in the world that we've ever found. Now, when I say anything in the world that we've ever found, we literally brought in products from all over the world to test. I mean, products from Israel, Japan, from South Korea, from all over the US, and we put them all through the same battery of tests to see which one actually moves the needle the most. This Nano Lubricant is 2 to 3 to 4 times better than everything else we tested. So when we added it to the ester and then put it into a gun oil, we had a really winning combination because one, it cleaned really well, but it also lubricates and it doesn't change viscosity with temperature, which those were 3 really important things. So from that point, we had some laboratory testing, which is always good, but then we needed real world testing. So we sent our product out to a professional SWAT team, and we didn't have a name for it or a label or anything. We just said, we want you to try this out. Let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Well, they came back extremely excited and said, normally in a weekend's worth of training, we run into 2 or 3 jammed weapons, and these, I don't remember the exact weapons that they were talking about, but they said the whole weekend we had 0 jamming and everything worked, and we noticed less residue inside the chamber by the end of the weekend. So we knew we were on to something. So from there, we took it and sent it out to some professional rifle people and said, hey, this is what we've come up with. We want your feedback. Well, the results were the same. They were off the charts excited about it and said, what is this stuff? We got to buy this. So from that point, we kind of tweaked it a little bit. We asked those professionals, does it need to be thicker, thinner? What's your opinion? And so we got the viscosity just right. We got the lubricity just right. And from what I can tell, it is the best gun oil in the market. And that was our test to our research and development team, is we don't want to offer it unless I can point blank say it's the best that anybody's ever made without reservation. And that's where we're at with our gun oil.
Yeah, and like you were saying, one of the main things that excites me is just going over some of the stuff that it does. The multi-purpose cleaner and lubricant protection prevents rust and corrosion. It's freeze resistant down to -50 degrees, right, where some gun oils, they don't really go that low. They don't think about it being that cold.
Correct.
And a lot of times it does get pretty cold here in Ohio, and I can vouch for some guys in Alaska and Canada and some other countries that it's freezing more down there. So I mean, that is definitely something that is great to see. And as everybody sees, we kind of have the little 2-ounce bottle, and we settle on the price of $11.95, correct?
Correct.
So, and we do have cases of 12 for people to purchase as well.
And probably one of the other things to keep in mind for all you gun enthusiasts, when you're looking at gun oils and you're looking at pricing and such, people that make what we call commodity products, those are the everyday use products. They're going for the cheapest, least expensive way to attack the problem. So it would not be uncommon at all to take like a 10-weight oil, just a base oil, put it in a bottle and call it a gun oil, because for the most part, it's still lubricating, it's cleaning, but they're not achieving any levels of performance. It's really just a base product. So when you're comparing this against other products on the shelf, realize that this is a highly engineered, severely tested product. This isn't, we found some oil that matched what they were doing and we put it out there. This is a different product. It's much different, from research and development all the way to the end. It is available right now online. So if you go to our website, hotshotsecret.com, you can buy the gun oil. We'll be giving some away to people that ask questions today. Do we have any questions yet, TJ?
As far as right now, we do not.
Well, here's your opportunity to get a free bottle of gun oil. Text in here.
There is a link below to go right to the gun oil page.
Excellent. On Facebook, if you could see the link on there where you can go online and order some. It's a good time to buy those for gifts. Christmas is coming up. If you have a gun enthusiast in your family, this is a really top tier product to get them, because now you're giving them something that has a really high value to them. The people who have tested this for us are extremely excited emotionally. So I would think that I'm not exaggerating. When they go to tell us about how good it is, it's a 10 to 15 minute conversation, not, yeah, it worked okay. This is exactly what happened, how it worked, and why we love it. So what I'm thinking is this is a great opportunity to get a gift for one of your family members, where it's got a really high level of execution. They'll be excited about it, and it's a unique product. I mean, you're telling them, I bought you the best of the best, and it's $11.95. So you're not, spending your whole bank account on one little gift.
Yeah, and see, that was one of the biggest things that excited me. Before we move on to the next product is I took my Smith & Wesson 40 and I sat there and put 100 rounds through it. And normally there's a residue that begins to, you can start seeing it getting into the chamber. And then all of a sudden, whenever I put that in, it cleared up, and I was like, and the gun started firing better than it was the last 20 rounds. And I was like, this is legit. I believe in it.
It's exciting. So there's your opportunity to get a really great product.
So the next thing that we have that we're unveiling as everybody can see, is our Gasoline Extreme. Now, the Gasoline Extreme, a lot of people have been asking about it. We've had, the past couple of years, we've had tons of people calling in saying, when are you guys going to get in the gas market? I want something that's better than what's on the shelves. And of course, like you keep on saying, we will never put out a product that isn't better than top
Everybody
quality. So
exponentially better than everything else out there.
correct. And I mean, what is some of the biggest difference you think about our gasoline extreme compared to?
Well, the first thing to understand is we are a problem-specific company. We look for problems and we come up with problem-specific solutions. That was the direction I took the company 10 years ago when we started making products. And I thought, we really need to focus on areas that are underserved. Well, we came up with our diesel duo package, which was the diesel extreme and the stiction eliminator. One cleaned out the oil side and one cleaned out the fuel side of your diesel truck. Well, then the next comment from everybody after they fell in love with that product was, what can you do for the gas engine? Well, we came out with stiction eliminator for cars, which it's the same product, but we just made in smaller bottles. But we could not come up with a gasoline additive that was better than the other products on the shelf, because in the market of gas additives, that's the most overly used area, or it's just saturated.
Right.
So there was a lot of research and development done there. So we've been trying literally for 5 years to come up with a gasoline additive that is better than everybody else. And we weren't able to do it until about this time last year when we started coming up with some unique formulas and some unique properties that we could offer to the public. So what makes this different than everybody else's product is it's made to be a one-time cleanup. You can use it once a year or once every 10,000 miles. We don't want to get caught up in the details of that because it's kind of hard. Different people drive different mileage every year.
Right.
But what we want to do with this product, with all of our products, is we want it to be a one-time fix. What happens, I think, with a lot of time, what happens a lot of times with the additives are that people dump something in there, they didn't get the effects they want, they dump something else in there, and it just carries on. We did not want to do that with any of our products. So the goal was, I want to put this in the tank and it fixes it almost every time. And that's what we were able to do with the Gasoline Extreme. There was so much detergent in there, and we had to keep working with the different levels of detergent to find out where the maximum potential was till we were able to find it. So it has a lot more active ingredient as far as that goes. We are using a PEA, and it will clean out the entire fuel system, not just your gas tank and your gas line, but it will also clean out the inside of the cylinder, the injector, and it will clean out the valve. So the direct injection deposits that are there, it will start to clean those up. It's going to be as fast as hooking a system up to it, but over a period of 10,000 miles, it will clean up the direct injection deposits. On top of that, we've added some other special products that were able to increase the fuel economy. So when we did the test, and all of you folks out there helped us with this, we sent out sample bottles, 1,000 of them, and we put them into 4 categories, placebo, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3. I think we had colors on them, red, green, blue. And then you fed us back the information that we needed. So how do each of these products work? This product worked better, not only than any other formulas, but better than the Chevron Techron, which was one of the
biggest.
Yeah, they're the biggest player in this field. And we wanted to see, how do we compare? Well, on average, the Chevron Techron brought in about a 3% increase in fuel economy. And we were able to get a 7.9% increase in fuel economy averaged out. So it was a huge improvement. So then we went back and tested it again under controlled environments, which means that we took a car here, several cars, and treated them. We drive them first, get a baseline, put the additive in, and drive them again on the same terrain to make sure that nothing's changed. And we wanted to verify those results, which we did. And we seem to be onto something.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I think that I want to reiterate is that the public tested it for us first.
Correct.
So a lot of people that are watching, they were probably some of those people that tested it, and their data being brought back to us is what caused us to come out with the Gasoline Extreme. And then with us just testing it in the background to make sure that our numbers matched it, it just makes total sense to not help people gain 7.9% of a fuel economy.
Correct. And it cleans out. Again, this is a one-time treat. We've noticed a lot of knocking and ticking and things that once we use the product after literally 100 miles, it's gone away. So we know that it was unique, and we know that it was better than the other products that we were testing it against, to the point that we feel comfortable bringing it to you. So that's the Gasoline Extreme. Is that available on the website now?
No, it's not. We're going to release it after Apex.
Okay, so next couple of weeks, keep an eye out. We'll probably be running specials where we're going to include it with some of the other specials that we run, just to get people using it and talking about it. The testers that used it wanted to buy it a month ago. I mean, we've had calls, where can I buy a dozen of these? This is the best stuff I've ever used. So I think it'll be a big hit, just like the other products.
Yeah, and a lot of people have called in, and the ones that have used it and said, hey, I was really having an issue with my vehicle, but it's really idled out, or it's smoothed out the idle, and it's running a lot better. And there's even been a couple people who said they had kind of a ticking noise that Gasoline Extreme actually fixed it. So,
well, one of the important things to understand on the gasoline engine is the fact that the deposits start to build up from the very first mile, and the car manufacturers know this. They have computer controls in there to keep readjusting to make up for that buildup. So you could get to a level of 20 or 30% buildup in an injector or in a fuel pump, and the computers will respond to that and keep changing the timing so that you don't ever notice it. It doesn't mean that the buildup's not there. It just means that you don't feel. It's kind of like cholesterol in your system. It's there, it's just building up.
right.
It's not until you have a heart attack that you do anything about it.
Right.
Well, maybe the doctor tells you do something, but
Yeah, and that's the big thing. And we always talk around here about preventative maintenance, and we talk about our products being for that, to make sure that you don't have that costly repair that comes out later because you weren't expecting it. And just like you said, it's just like cholesterol. You have a heart attack, and next thing you know, you got a $40,000 doctor bill because all the EKGs
right.
and everything you had to do. So,
and where you can see this is if you look at your fuel economy from the day you bought your car to now,
Yep.
it will drop. So if you were getting 26 miles per gallon steady, now all of a sudden you're down to 24, and you're thinking it's the gasoline or something, it's just slowly building up in there. One treatment of Gasoline Extreme will get you back to that 26 miles per gallon. It works that good, and it's just a one-time thing, and it really has proven to be effective.
So we talked a little bit about our Gasoline Extreme. Next, one of the bigger products that everybody's been talking about us coming out with is our Diesel Winter Rescue. Now, with the Diesel Winter Rescue, a lot of people have asked, well, how does it compete with 911? How does it compete with Arctic Blast from Power Service? So what is the big difference? Because like we've been saying, we won't come out with the product unless it's better. So with the Diesel Winter Rescue Emergency, how is it different?
Wow, that's a big name. But the difference, first of all, the difference between using a rescue product versus an anti-gel is the anti-gel has to be in there before it starts to cloud. So once the wax molecules start to coagulate, the anti-gel's somewhat ineffective. I mean, eventually it will get in there and start doing its job. So when we go to a de-icer or a rescue product, we have to put a different chemical in there that actually breaks the wax up after it's been coagulated. So we looked at the other products on the market, and we thought, well, they're really not bad. They're doing a good job for what they're doing.
Right.
But they're a little bit rough on your engine because they are solvent-based. So we tried to offset that with lubricity additives and adding some other higher-end additives to make it a more of a fully functional product. So not only are we reliquefying your gel fuel, but we're also dispersing the moisture that's in that tank. We're helping with some rust and corrosion inhibitors. We're bringing lubricity in there. So it's not just safer, but it actually is a helpful product. Where I guess if you're thinking about, if I'm trying to explain how the difference would be, one is it's a necessary product and it did exactly what they sold it for, which is to reliquefy your fuel, but then that's all it did. We went a couple steps above that and said, okay, how do we make a top tier product that doesn't just reliquefy your gel fuel, but lubricates the inside of your system, brings you some performance benefits, and makes your system better. So we want to leave it better than it was before.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things I'm excited about this product is because we have a lot of people call in who thought they have longer time before they need to add the Diesel Winter Anti-Gel and get that all in their system. So when all of a sudden you have a trucker who went from Ohio and he's in Colorado, and the next day he wakes up and it's 32 degrees, he didn't start anti-gelling, all of a sudden now he's going to be able to say, okay, well, I know that Hot Shot Secret makes that Diesel Winter Rescue, so I'll go ahead and pour that in, and I know that I'm going to be okay. That's a big thing to me, and it's also, I mean, one of the biggest things, it's safe for all diesel engines, so it doesn't matter if old or new, it's good for all of them.
And that's a good point. That's actually happened to me, and I'm in the business, obviously, but I parked a tractor in the fall, didn't think much about it, and then first snow, and it's freezing cold out, and the tractor doesn't want to start, and I'm thinking, oh, man, I forgot to put anti-gel in there because it's August or September, and you're not thinking about those things. But it is safe for all diesel engines, and it's effective in all diesel fuels. So it's a really good product for that. And I'll tell you a little secret that we won't stand by warranty, but I know it from firsthand experience. For those of you that are, this is like a little trick of the trade that you'll hear from somebody that knows what they're doing on the phone. We use this product for people that are in extreme cold weather and they have their hydraulic systems freeze up. It's not tested for that, and it's not that we would go on the record. Wait, does this count as a record? But but I will tell you this: if you're desperate and you've got a snow plow or you've got a backhoe and it's all frozen up, you can add this in there and it will fix it and get you going again. It's a little secret. I've done it 100 times and it's worked every time. And in those situations, it's kind of a life or death situation for people. I've got to get this thing moving and I'm not going to spend the whole day. I can't even get it towed into a garage to warm it up. What do I do? So when they call me on the phone, it's like, do you have any of this available? And they're like, okay, they'll have it on the shelf. They'll go put it in there and it fixes the problem. Okay. So a little trick of the trade there.
Yeah. And one of the things I do want to bring up, that we always get calls around this time of the year. And as we get farther in, some people will call in and say, well, how's your warranty on your product if I end up, because we do have some competitors that they'll say they'll pay for your towing or they won't do anything at all. So one of the big things that we do is we tell you, hey, we'll refund your money if it doesn't work for you. And we're that big into knowing our products are the best out there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we've based the whole company on. We want to make your life better. If not, we want you to have your money back. It's not a hard process, and we don't really want to run you through a lot of paces. Just call up and tell us, hey, I tried the product, didn't work. I'm going to the shop to get this fixed. Can I have my $50 back? Can I have my $26 back? And we'll send it back to you. Our goal is to make your life better. When you leave here, your experience with us, we want you to be happy. So we'll take care of you. If it doesn't work, we'll make sure you get your money back.
So let's talk about the next products, because a lot of people have heard about these for a couple of years now, and they've been waiting for them to come out. And we had some testing done in the fire punk trucks that had been running this year and breaking records. And some people were like, holy smokes, what are you guys running? UCC, they started running it and seen records broken already. Didn't stop. They broke records with the ODSS and NHRDA. It was amazing what the next products were doing. So we're going to talk a little bit about our transmission fluids, okay, of all trades. So what are some of the, as you can see, the
reason we got in transmission fluids? Okay, in your transmission, we have two categories here: transmission fluids and gear oils. The gear oils are going into the rear end, and the transmission fluids going in your transmission, obviously. Where we want to bring value to the customers in severe duty, where you're pushing the limits of what the transmission can do, like in a racing application or a heavy duty pole. And in that point, you're testing the capacity of the oil to do its job. So first of all, we started with a full PAO base oil. Now, why that makes a difference is normal oils are made out of hydrocarbons. Well, all oils hydrocarbon. But when you're using crude oil and you're using like a group 2 or group 3, they're carbon chains. If you remember high school chemistry, it's carbon and hydrogen, and there's the 4 chains on there. What happens as you heat that up and then you put pressure on it, it shears those carbon in half. So when you shear that carbon, it breaks free and it bakes on the inside of an engine, on the inside of a transmission, on the inside of a gearbox. When you see that black or that brown residue, that's carbon. PAO oils do not shear. So the reason we started with that, we didn't just go with a PAO. There's like 300 different PAO oils, and they come in different carbon chains. So you can get like a C5, a C4. We're using a 12 carbon chain oil, which is the best you can get. So it's almost impossible to shear this and break it apart. It literally could last forever. And the reason we did that is these are severe duty applications. If we have a racing application over here, or if this is for a heavy duty fleet, you don't want your oil to shear.
Right.
What that results into you is you can leave it in there longer. You'll have more protection. You will literally almost freeze the wear levels in there. The transmission is about in the same case. I don't know if it's as much the pressure as much as you're hitting the severe temperatures. So as you cook that oil, it leaves behind a little coating of carbon buildup, which we call stiction. This won't do that. It literally can't be done that we know of. Kyle was asking me before the show, has anybody been able to shear it? And nobody has been able to yet. And the reason is they've run it for 5 years straight, continuous duty on offshore drilling wells, like in the North Seas and things like that. And then when they took it back out, it was still serviceable oil. It just doesn't shear. It's expensive, which, that's what we do is we try to find products that are top tier, better than everybody else, and then we offer them to the people that need that. So where this has a high value to you is if you're pulling a really heavy load, driving really fast, or something that you never in your life want to change again, these are the products for you. We have, on the racing side, we have the 75 110 transmission fluid, and then we have the gear oil, which is what's the weight on that? 110?
110. Yeah, the transmission fluid is over here, and this is your.
No, those are racing.
This is transmission.
That's transmission.
And this is transmission.
Yeah. So for the fleets, we have the Type F and the C4. So you could put that in there, and then we have the 75 110 full PAO synthetic gear lube. So if you have a pickup truck or a semi truck or a backhoe, you need severe duty. This
Three
is
weights.
3 weights.
75, 110, 80, 85, 140, and we also have a 90 weight.
We have
So
a
90
rating.
weight, 110, and 140 weight.
Okay. So we've got all those, whatever weight you're being called for, and where those are going to make a difference is when you look in your manufacturer's manual, it will say this calls for a 75 110 or it calls for an 85 140 or just a straight 90 weight, and that's what you'll line up with. But the additive packages in each of them is the same. The base oil type is the same. We're still using the full 12 carbon chain PAO synthetic. It is the best that you can get, and we have tried at least 4 other PAO base oils and have not been able to get the same results as we're getting with this one. So we know that this is the best. At least this is the best that we've been able to find so far. We're still looking. We have people in this week to introduce some new PAO base oils to us, some new technologies they want us to test. They said, we think this will do even better than what you've got. And we said, hey, we're all for it. Bring it in and we'll test it because we want the best of the best. That's what we do.
And one of the big things about with like our oils and moving in the transmission fluids and the gear oils, they have the patent and FR3 in them as well, correct?
That's
so
right.
there you also have the nanocarbons inside of there that's going in and repairing any damage there might be. And some people are like, well, how in the world's that work? And a little more, how does that test work whenever they find out about the nanocarbons?
So what we're testing for there is loss of metal. So we run a pin on a plate back and forth like 40,000 times over an 8-hour period, and we're checking to see how much metal did you gouge out. And then we check different formulas and different things. Well, when we put the nanocarbons in there, we were able to reduce the wear by 62%. By the time we put it into the FR3, we're down to 47%, but that's still a huge saving. So
Right.
what we're effectively doing is putting a little layer of ball bearings between the two metal surfaces, and it's extremely small. When we get in nano size, I mean, these nanocarbons are between 6 and 9 nanometers, which is, if you can imagine this is smaller than a human cell. So it would actually could go into a cell at a nano level. You don't have to worry about that. It's bonded with oil. So there's no nanocarbons flying around here.
Right.
But the idea is by going that small and then using the esters, we're able to plate the inside of the surface. The other thing that we're able to do by using the PAO synthetic with the esters and the nanos is we're able to shrink the size of the molecule down. So if you're looking at this versus a regular off-the-shelf gear lube, this molecule would literally be 10 times smaller. So where that benefits you is there's places that might get a little bit of oil starvation, where it takes a while to get oil in there. We're in there much faster in a much more efficient way. We're able to get into places that no other oil can get because we're on that small of a level.
Yeah, and some people were going to ask, like, is it good for my Ford? Is it good for the Allison transmission? That was kind of the big thing with doing those. I know that like the 48 and the 68, some people were asking about if it would work in those. And are we able to say that this can work in any transmission, automatic or manual?
Correct. This can work in any transmission, automatic or manual, and this is Allison C4 severe duty, so you can use it and you're going to be okay with your warranty. The difference is the amount of additive, the kinds of additives, adding the nanocarbon and then using a PAO base oil. So we're able to vastly increase the efficiency of the oil. The one thing we haven't done yet is to check for an increase in fuel economy by using it, which that'll come up next now that we're actually releasing these to the public. We do know that we get more horsepower because Firepunk tested these products in his truck and he broke world records with them. And He's been using them all year in the most severe duty that you could possibly ever get. So if you're, when you're looking at, Levon breaking the world record, and you're thinking, okay, here's a truck that he's got, hundreds of thousands of dollars into, hundreds, if not thousands of hours of engineering into. And who did he trust to supply the fluids for that?
Right.
Hot Shot Secret. He's got our products in the engine, the fuel, transmission, and in the gearbox. So he tested them. He knows they work. He knows that they can't be broken down. So that should put your mind at ease. If you want to put it into an F-150, trust me, you're not even going to break that oil in compared to what he's doing.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about working here and getting to know a lot of the customers and stuff, because they'll call in and they'll say, hey, is this going to hurt my truck, or is this going to break my warranty? Is this, how well is it going to work on my vehicle? And a lot of times if they come back and they say, well, I think that this did this or this did that, we kind of begin to test that and try to help them. We don't just send them away and say, well, forget you, we don't care. We really do care.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. We've been doing some surveys out there to ask people what holds them back from buying products like ours. I mean, we know how good they are. You know how good they are. So what's the holdback? Well, it's fear of what's going to happen if something goes wrong.
Right.
Well, we get oil samples, we get parts in, we check them, and it's never our fault. I mean, just because all products are so safe, they're 10 times safer than what else is out there. But we do help you figure out what the root cause was. What we find a lot of times is some sand got in the engine, or some other antifreeze or something else got in there and caused a failure. And then we guide them through the process on how to get that repaired.
Yeah. And that to me and to a lot of people I know that I've talked to about that certain situation, they've said, well, that kind of helps me know that you guys aren't just out to make another buck like a lot of other people. We're out to try to help you.
Well, not just that, big country. Not just that, but we carry $10 million worth of liability insurance. So we have every base covered. If anything happens, we do have something to go back on. But beyond that, every time that this has ever happened, the customer is more, it's more important to him to find out what happened and what's wrong.
Right.
It's not necessarily that he's looking for a free payout or anything like that. It's like, what happened to my truck? We're here to help figure that out with you. And that's not usually what we find from some of the other companies. They call and they just get voicemail. Nobody ever calls them back. You can call me. I'll answer your questions. Kevin Adams, our chemical engineer, he'll get on the phone for hours with people. We'll send them out free sample kits. Hey, send us a sample of the oil. We'll go through it with you, with the lab. We'll make sure that you understand what's going on here. So TJ, have we got any questions coming in yet?
We do have a couple here. So let me check and see here. Are you able to get these new products out in the marketplace yet? Jason asked. So we've kind of said that earlier. None of the products are out on the marketplace except for the gun oil right now is online. I don't think we don't have anything else on the online yet. I think more of Apex SEMA. They'll start rolling around on the.
Jason, next week is the SEMA Apex show in Las Vegas. It's the largest aftermarket automotive show in the world. There's close to 200,000 people that go there. And that's where everybody releases their new and best and greatest products. So these are going to be released next week at our booth at Apex. And after that, they'll be on the web so you can buy them in a week.
And we do have some smaller dealers that have already ordered cases of the gun oil. They're like, we need it now. We have family members. And so just like you said, it's Christmas time. It's getting close to Christmas, even though everybody's like, it's not even Halloween yet.
Well, it's hunting season.
It is full swing hunting season. And I actually put some of the gun oil even on my bow. So I'll be honest with everybody out there. And so far,
it's good.
Yeah, it's good. And so we've been talking about transmission fluids. And if anybody does have questions, again, link down below. Go ahead and post them, and we'll talk to you some more.
We got another one from David Visarius. He says, what about using it in the new Asian for Ram? I'm guessing that's transmission.
Emissions legal.
Yeah.
6.7 Cummins.
Yep.
Using the gear oil transmission fluid?
I'm guessing gear oil and or transmission fluid.
The gear oil and transmission fluid will be fine. That's not an emission type of product. So actually all of our products are safe for emissions except for a few extreme duty crazy things that we make for people that don't have emissions.
Right.
But these would be fine. And
Yeah, he'd go with the ATF.
the ATF fluid.
Yep.
The standard ATF with a PAO base oil.
And he just asked another question, David Desarius. Trans oil good for the new, again, ASIN of the new AS69RC version.
As far,
I believe it's under Mopar spec, so the ATF should be.
so it'd be like a Dextron 3
Yep.
or a Dextron 4,
6,
6.
up to 6, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so the ATF is what he'd want to use then, and it'd be perfect.
and when you're looking in your manual, it'll probably say use Dextron 6, and if you look on the back of the bottle here, it'll say Dextron 6, so it'll cover that spec. We didn't have enough room on the table for all the products, so we set a couple off to the side, but you can see we've got the other ones as well. So they're all the same types of products, just different weights and different, type F versus the others. So we've got those ready, but you're still getting the same good formulas. So that's the one you'd want to use. And we'll get back to you with some more information on that.
So since we've talked about that, we'll swing into the gear oils a little bit more. We talked about the 90, the 110, the 140, and then we have a blue diamond one, as you pointed up over here.
Yep.
And then we also have the racing application one. And I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head whenever you said the racing is more for the tolerances that are really tight, and it's beginning to get a lot of pressure built up in there. Now, on the blue diamond,
And a 3% horsepower gain.
so okay, that's even better, because whenever you're thinking about racing, all these guys are trying to break world records, and some of them are just trying to get their truck from maybe a 12 to 1190 or from 1190 to 11.5.
Yep.
It becomes part of that becomes adding something that could give you that little more boost to get in there. So when we talk about our gear oils and running the blue diamond in the gear oils, would that work for just anybody? Would it help heavy duty fleets that are having
Yes.
issues with?
Yes, it would. It would help anybody can use any of these products over here. Well, you can use those too, but for standard fleets, I mean, even if it's a Volkswagen Passat and you want to put a extreme duty gear oil in there, where the benefit is going to be, and I've been known to do this myself, your truck is rated to pull 5,000 pounds, but you got a tractor that's 6,000 pounds and you're only going 2 miles, and you're like, yeah, we could get that far. So you go ahead and do it. Well, the problem is that the manufacturer has spec'd out the gearbox. So those gears are crunching and they're figuring 5,000 is the max. By adding the heavier duty oil, you're giving it more film strength, and you're putting it's called an EP, extreme pressure additive, in there. That's going to give it a little bit more boost. So you're going to protect those gears more and keep them from wearing out. So it does extend what you could possibly do with a piece of equipment.
And
Not that we'd ever recommend that. Don't try that at home.
No, and I think those are questions people are going to ask. They're going to say, what can I do? And can you, I'll just ask it. Some people are going to ask, in my gas Cavalier, can I use your guys' transmission fluids inside of there?
Absolutely.
And yeah, absolutely. And some of the bigger things about being in that market, you start having people that start seeing an even better benefit of not only using our transmission fluid, but also using our additives as well. Because with the FR3, I mean, I run FR3 in all my gas vehicles, as well as stiction luminaire, and
I use it in my lawnmower, my chainsaw. Yeah,
so and FR3's in the gun oil. It's in
absolutely.
so it's a great thing. So.
Well, let me just say what TJ, what Big Country is saying is, we talk a lot to the heavy duty equipment guy. We talk a lot about the big truck, the racing truck. The truth is, we use these products in all of our vehicles. I use it in my wife's Kia. I use it in my daughter's Escape. I mean, they're good for everything, but for some reason, our company focuses a lot on the heavy duty diesel. It's just what we're drawn to. I think it's because we started off in diesel, but you literally can use these in anything from, I mean, I have it in my ZTR lawnmower. I do use FR3 in my chainsaw. I mean, we put it in everything, and we do see the effects of it and everything. So absolutely. The only thing you cannot switch over is put the diesel extreme or the diesel additives in gasoline. Cetane works the opposite of octane. So when, cetane's like an explosive thing. It's ethyl hexyl nitrate or 2-ethyl hexyl nitrate. So it's the same stuff dynamite's made out of, and it's made to make that explosion in there a lot bigger, a lot faster, a lot more powerful, so that you're getting more boost and a more efficient burn. That's why when we put the cetane boost in there, you feel so much more power in there, in a diesel truck. In a gas engine, you want to do the exact opposite. You want to bring that ignition down so that it ignites when the spark plug goes off. So if you did that, what would happen is it would knock and ping, and you'd have pre-ignition. I mean, it'd want to light on fire just from the compression from the cylinder. So you're, adding too much gunpowder to the gun in that case. If that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. And that was one of the biggest things about the Gasoline Extreme. Everybody was asking, well, is it going to be an octane booster? And a lot of the answers were no. There wouldn't be a reason the boost to octane whenever we're trying to clean everything out. And
no, there's really, the only two ways that we know of to boost octane is lead, which they made us take out in 1973, and alcohol. That's why a lot of times you see 10%, methanol in your gas. What they'll do is they'll start with like a 80 octane fuel. They'll put 10% ethanol or methanol in it, and that brings it up to an 87. Now the problem with that's kind of become the standard, but the problem is once the ethanol or the methanol draws in moisture from the air and drops out, you have phase separation. It's not just that you got a little bit of water in the bottom of your tank, but now your gasoline is only a 75 or 80 octane fuel. So it really doesn't burn well. It'll burn, it's just kind of rough. And it's because it's a below grade gas. Now we do have a product coming out that fixes that. And the reason is it is an issue. Those products are called hydrolytic. And what that means is they just absorb moisture from the air. So alcohol, anybody that's ever gone to the doctor and got a shot, they rub the pad on you and then it evaporates just like that. Well, it's an unstable product. And what it does is it pulls the molecules in of moisture from the air and it brings it into the gas. So if you had two cans of gas here, one was straight gasoline, one was 10% alcohol, a year from now, this one would have 2 or 3% moisture in it. This one would still be the same because this one literally pulls it in. When it hits maximum saturation point, like in a really humid day or in a marine application, all that alcohol and the moisture drop out to the bottom. It's called phase separation. And at that point, you got two problems. One is you got water in the bottom of your tank. The other problem is your gasoline's only 75 or 80 octane, right, but your engine's not made to run on that.
Yeah, and it's great to finally know that, hey, a lot of the stuff that people have heard about is coming out now. And again, what was the booth we're going to be at Apex and SEMA? So everybody who's just now tuning in will know.
4 3 zeros and a 9. So it's 40009.
So if you are out there, come stop by the booth, talk to Chris. And
I'll be out there answering any questions you've got. We'll talk about your lawnmower oil. We'll be right by the new product showcase. So if you find the new product showcase, you'll see some of our products in there, but you'll also see our booth right by it.
And see, that is another great thing that we're going to end up moving right into. And if you have any questions, again, just comment down below your questions. We'll get to them. Feel free to. Kyle had something I think he's going to say.
Yeah, I'm just going to get you a little caught up on comments and a couple questions we missed. Chris Conant said that he needs some of that gun oil for his father-in-law.
That sounds like Chris.
Yeah. Wade Moody chimed in, one of our sponsored racers, fastest dragster in the world, 4.11, fastest diesel-powered vehicle in the world, on Hot Shots fluids, by the way.
There we go.
He said, "What's up, guys? We love your lubricants and additives," and now he wants some of the gun oil as well. We also had Colin Ellison said that he uses the EDT in every tank. He never fills up without it. Out of Diesel Extreme and every other month too. Product did all the talking for me. So appreciate you chiming in, Colin. Also, Brian Fidazzo says, your products work great. I run EDT and Diesel Extreme in both my diesel vehicles, the 335D Beamer and the Duramax, both run like champs. Thanks, Brian. Looks like Trevor's poking Rich a little bit about a football game coming up.
Yeah.
And we also have the David DeSeries that was asking the question earlier. I see he was actually initially asking about his motor oil.
Yep.
He says, I already used the EDT and Diesel Extreme. They work, but they haven't used the new oil in the engine yet. Will it be okay for emissions legal 6.7 Cummins? So that's a little different than our gear oil and our trans oil here, but maybe we can tell the difference of the black diamond versus the green diamond, what you can still use in that.
Right. We do have engine oils. They're not out on the table, but you go to our website. Those have been available for some time now. And we have 2 different grades or 3 different grades. We have a full PAO synthetic, which is the highest priced one. Then we have a blend, which is a mix between Group 3 and Group 4. Then we have a fighting grade because people wanted something better than what I could buy on the shelf with the FR3 in it. So that would be a Group 3 oil. And those are all 3 of those are available, and they're all street legal. They're good for your emissions. They have the CK4 oil additive package. They're blended with the FR3. You can choose your length of duty or the amount of severity that you want to use by going between the green diamond, blue diamond, or black diamond. We kind of named them that way for the way that they work. But you can look at the different price points and decide which one of those best meets your needs. They're all good. I mean, even the fighting grade one is way better than anything you can buy on the shelf.
Yeah.
So if you put it up against Mobil 1 or anything else, it would still beat that. Now the full PAO synthetic would beat it by leaps and bounds. I used to tell people when we were selling that, take your Shell Rotella, run it for 15,000 miles and do an oil sample, and then run the Blue Diamond for 50,000 miles. And I guarantee you that at 50,000, our oil will look better than yours does at 15. It's that much better. So
yeah, and one of the big things, since he said it's emissions legal, we probably want him to stay away from the black diamond, knowing that it has a high zinc in it. Some people have called in and say, well, my catalytic converter, is it okay if I have that still on? If I have my DPF still on, if I run that, what would happen? It's kind of that soot begins to build up and starts clogging things up. So since it's emissions wise, we'll probably tell him to stay away from that. But other than that, I mean, yeah, he'd be good.
With the new emissions on the diesel engines, they have, it's kind of like a ceramic type honeycomb structure in there. And what happens is if you get too much zinc or phosphorus from blow-by, it will pollute that, and then it doesn't clean off. So you know what regens are because you're driving one of those vehicles. The regen won't work well. It'll start to clog it up. So we had to back off. Everybody had to. We had to back off the amount of zinc and phosphorus. But where we were able to go back to even a better duty oil without the zinc and phosphorus is by using the FR3. Right. By using the nanocarbons and using the esters, we're able to actually get a better oil than your old CJ4, which was the old, high zinc oil, which would have been like a 12 TBN. You could take our regular Blue Diamond street legal, and it would still be better than any other oil that you can buy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that call in that have like older vehicles that have like the flat tappet cams and stuff that they love our black diamond because of the zinc that's helping it keep everything running right and lubricated. So yeah, definitely I would recommend running our blue diamond, green diamond.
Got a gun question from Chris Conan. He says, I'm not a gun guy, but I need Christmas gifts. How long does a 2-ounce bottle last for a shooter that shoots weekly?
Shoots weekly. I mean, if you're doing it right, I would think 2-ounce bottle would last you a month. You'd be good. Good to go.
Really?
Yeah. Much longer.
Well, it depends. I was gonna say with me. I mean, well, I guess I didn't.
It would last 2 days. Buy 100 of them.
I was gonna say I mean, recently I haven't shot as much as I normally do, but if it was like getting to the point where I'm shooting every day, I'm weekly. You'd probably be able to go a couple months.
Well, Kyle, you're a gun guy. How long would it last?
That would last me
a year,
at least 4 months.
Yeah, so
at least
depends on how much. Yeah, if you're firing it every week, I would think you'd be able to go.
And the one thing to remember too is after initial clean out with that, due to some of the components like the FR3, it's going to keep the gun clean.
Correct.
Going forward, so you might have an initial clean out with it, but it'll also prevent buildup, so that your follow-up cleanups will be less.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about this is, see, I didn't have this luxury of this little needle that you can pour a little bit out. I had the first kind that we had, and it'd come out quick and fast. So yeah, with that, I would say 3 or 4 months you'd be able to use it, no problem.
Okay. Well, buy some, Chris, and let us know how long it lasted.
Yeah, he'll come to Toastmasters next time and be able to get some from us. But so let's kind of flip over here to. We want to give some shout outs to our new dealers and fleets we just updated since direct sales. We've been trying to get more and more, expand our dealer network and our fleet network. Summit Diesel came on board. They actually got signed up at the World Finals in Texas.
Willett Performance also got signed up out at Texas, as well as Knight Transport. He's one of the pullers from NHRDA. And then LFG Parts, who you've actually been working with, came on board this week. They're getting excited about our FR3, and I'll let you talk about it if you want to.
Sure. LFG Parts, they work primarily in what's called the sour gas or biogas industry. So if you go out to landfills, all that stuff underneath the dirt starts to biodegrade and methane gas comes up. Well, they don't just burn it off like they used to, where you see a pipe sticking out of the ground with a flame. The EPA gets grouchy about that kind of thing now. So they pump it through a compressor and then move it into engines, and they're special engines that are made to run sour gas. And one of the problems that they have is because the gas supply changes from minute to minute because it's dirty.
Right.
They have a lot of buildup and a lot of issues inside. So we've been doing several tests with them, one in Florida, one in California, one here in Ohio, with different products to see how we can help that industry out. And so far, the findings are really good. We're getting longer life out of the oil. We're able to keep the acids at a minimum. They get a lot of hydrogen sulfides. It's just gas or acids because of the nasty stuff that's breaking down. So we're affecting change in there. And so far, all of our tests have been coming out good. So they came on as a dealer. They will be our supplier to that industry.
And that is something that is great whenever you're talking to people, and they were ecstatic when they were up here from Florida and everything. So then we also had Flight Systems Automotive Group in Lewisberry, PA, and then Richland Auto Parts in Athens, Ohio. And then also we got kind of a big one in the racing industry, and Scheid Diesel. They kind of came on. They want to kind of test our products out on the shelves and see how everything works out for them. They've been using our products and they love it.
So Scheid Diesel will be next week. They'll have their product. If you're near Scheid and you want to go in there and pick some up, you bring up a good point about the dealers, and I think it's important just to let our family here know that we have a dealer division. And if you know somebody that's as a dealer in the diesel market, have them contact us and we can set them up to become a dealer. But we treat our dealers different than we do retailers. Retailers have a very strict policy. They only put things on the shelf that sell at a certain rate. So some of these products would not move, like the Gasoline Extreme would not move at a rate that would make O'Reilly's happy.
Right.
But our dealers are the ones that really know the products, and we want you to support them because they're the ones that are the highest level of knowledge next to TJ and the folks here at the plant. But if we try to pick these people out and set them up as dealers so that they can explain to you the different products, and they have access to our whole line. So there's dozens of products that we make that most of the time you would never know about unless you talk to one of our authorized dealers. So Scheid Diesel just come on, as well as these other folks that Big Country here just mentioned.
Yeah, and see that is one of the biggest things, like you were talking about with our dealers, like you were saying about the oils. We have a lot of dealers, they're small dealers around people that they don't even realize. If they go to our website and actually look for a local dealer, those people are carrying our oil. I know that everybody's been talking about the Cadillac 5.9 Cummins. He runs our oil, and actually down in Texas was talking about running our Black Diamond oil. So it's one of those things that sooner or later, as Apex begins to fall out, you're going to start seeing this more and more in small dealers who are wanting to carry it.
Absolutely. And our dealer network is really where we want to hang our hat. I mean, not that we like retail. You can get our products at O'Reilly's and Walmart and those places, AutoZone, and we love that, and we're very grateful for the business. But we're really about problem-specific solutions. We want to solve your problems. It takes a lot of explanation. So you can't stand at a retail shelf and explain to somebody for 15 minutes why they need Gasoline Extreme, because it just doesn't work that way. But you can go into your local, dealer that works on your truck or works on your car, and they can do that. Or if you know our products and you love our products and you want them to carry it, go in and say, hey, call TJ and ask him how to become a dealer, because he'll set them up. It's, we really support those guys with signs, with support. As much phone as they need, we'll go out and visit them if they need us to. We really try to make sure that they're successful with our product line.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys, that is one of the biggest things with dealers is they'll walk into, you can't walk into, like you were saying, you can't walk into a retailer and say, hey, what's this product do compared to this product? Where our dealers, they call in a lot of times and they're like, hey, guy's asking this question. And then next time I don't get that same phone call because we've told them everything, they've learned, they've been educated. And so they go out and they tell a consumer, and the consumer buys it because they realize that, hey, it is far beyond what everybody else gives out there.
And that's why it took so long to get, even our Stiction Eliminator was our first product on the retail shelf. That's why it took so long to get onto a retail shelf, was all the retailers told me at the time, this product is too complicated, it costs too much, and nobody will buy it. And
Right.
we're not in the business of educating the consumers. We're in the business of being a point of distribution. So if you get everybody that wants it and they need it, then we'll put it on the shelf. So we sold through the web and we sold through dealers, and that was our primary way of going to market, because we knew it was a great product. We knew that had a high value. We were saving people $3,000 to $4,000 on injectors, $2,000 to $3,000 on turbos with a $50 bottle of additive. So once everybody started buying it, well, then the retailers came in and said, we're getting a lot of calls for this. Can we have it on the shelf? But it's really the dealer that we want to support, and we want to support everybody. We really want our dealers to have every tool, and we want you to support them. If you need any help, let us know. We'll be glad to do that also.
And see, that's one of the comments Brendan Smith has said. He said it is the Ford 6.0 saver, and it is 6.0, 7.3s, cleaning out the injectors. It has done wonders. I know Bras Solutions in New Mexico, they had an older guy who has 7.3, said he had this truck since he was younger. He said he put our Diesel Extreme and EDT in. Next thing you know, he said, my truck runs better than it's ever ran since he's gotten it. So it's definitely great products to be able to.
I had a guy that told me that he's got 280,000 miles on a 6.0 with the original injectors, and he's used Stiction Eliminator the whole time.
Yep.
And I had another guy last week that said he has 200,000 miles on his Ford 6.0, and he's never touched the injectors or the turbo. So we know that it works.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of getting out there. It's also really good for hydraulic lifters, even in gas vehicles. We haven't come out with a big advertising campaign for it, but it really does help, especially the hydraulic lifters in a car. I think like the Chevy Equinox, things like that. And it only takes a 16-ounce bottle. So it's a good product for there too. Volvos have hydraulic lifters. There's another area. The International DT 466s, again, there's another really good application for the product. They actually have oil side injectors and everything. So it's, top tier there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely great. And with us doing the R&D update, I'll say this: we've been working with some semis, doing some testing. Wanted to show a little bit more of how our products work in fleet applications, as well as the modern Mopar Hemi-Tick testing. Now, they got the baseline completed, and if I'm not mistaken, whenever the vehicle came in, it sounded louder than whenever it left. So I'm not going to say what they were doing already, but I'm sure that we'll get to that. And then we have finally got the new products that are ready to go and being unveiled for Apex.
And for those of you that don't know, we do have a factory outlet store here in Mount Gilead. We're right off State Route 95 and 71. Stop by. You can buy products at a reduced price in the lobby. It's a great opportunity to get. I had a fellow stop in last week, and he had bought some of our EDT, about a year ago, and he had run out. So he came in while I was talking to him, and he said, I told him about the fuel economy gains. I said, we almost always see a 5% increase in fuel economy. He says, that sounds about right. He says, I'm getting 15 miles per gallon. And he said, because I haven't used the product for the last few tanks. He said, before that, I was getting 15 3/4 to 16. He says, pretty steady. He goes, I went from 15 to almost 16. Then when I stopped using it, it started dwindling back down to 15 again. So it's dead on. I mean, that's right where we're supposed to be. I mean, 10% fuel economy gain on 15 miles would be 1.5. So 5% would be right about 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, and that is great. Also, we just want to make everybody aware that since this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is our last show for October, the Save the Rack shirts are $10. The proceeds go towards breast cancer awareness. That's something that we got to work with Emily Mahler and her family throughout the year with the Save the Racks truck, but since this is breast cancer awareness, we know that it's just not affecting that family. It's affecting all families across the United States and all over the world, really. So $10 on the website. You call in, get them. And so
is this part of the Save the Beard campaign?
So everybody's been talking about that. They wanted me to cut my beard. And Kyle keeps on holding up this picture that says shave the beard. And I mean, to be honest with you, if we could get 500 shirts sold by the end of the month, I'd be more than happy to shave my beard for a good cause.
All right, there we go.
No. I mean, that's 10
500
shirts, 500 shirts, $5,000. goes towards breast cancer awareness.
Well, what if we got like $4,500 raised? Would you not shave the beard for that?
No, I want it. I'm going to make sure that everybody's got to get on board and trying to help. I mean,
But what if it was like 499?
and you can't buy all the shirts, or somebody that's close to the company can't buy all the shirts. Friends and family are out.
Come on. If you buy a shirt, the money goes to breast cancer awareness. And if we get enough shirts sold, next month we'll have TJ tied down and we'll shave his beard off. So big country will become little country.
I will become little country. I'll look like a little kid again. So we kind of wrapped up all the shows for this year, the race shows. So
yep.
ODSS is over, NHRDA is over. Pacemakers, if I'm not mistaken, is over as well. We got the last cash days in. So Apex is right now, it'd be close to our last show, and then next year we'll roll into PRI and stuff like that. So December. So that will be our last show probably. But once again, Apex booth is 40009. And then Tuesday, October 30th through Thursday, November 1st at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas, Nevada. So you've been to the Apex show. I've never been there, never been to SEMA or anything. So why should people go to it?
If you go to SEMA this year or any year, that is your clearing. There's so much there. That's your clearinghouse for everything automotive and truck. There is nothing in the world that has to do with automotive that's not there. And I am not exaggerating. If you spent 3 days walking through it, you would only see half of it. Everything from air compressors to shock absorbers to brake pads to high performance lubricants. You can even find buttons for your dashboard. It's literally everything aftermarket for automotive. It's, they do time trials out back. They'll have everybody from every TV show there. It's a very big event. We're there more to support our customer base. Right. So I don't get a chance to really walk around the whole thing, but it is a great opportunity if you're curious about something and you're wondering about this or that, how do these shocks, or you want to talk, that's the place to go. But it is open only to automotive professionals Tuesday through Friday. So if you don't own a shop or you're not in the business of automotive, then they don't usually let you in unless you get a pass from somebody.
Eric Villa just chimed in and said he'll see us there in Vegas, and that's a good shout out to him at Diesel Garage, because I know he's going to be doing coverage. So
Eric
if you're
Villa
not in the industry, you can follow that and see some of the good stuff they have there.
Yeah, Eric Villa with Diesel Garage will be out there. He'll be interviewing us, he'll be interviewing a lot of different people, but he'll be posting those on the web. You can get to his site by dieselgaragemedia.com. Is that right? Something like that. Type in Diesel Garage Media and it'll come up.
Yeah, so we are winding down here since it is past our hour, but like we talked earlier, we could go on forever about some of these things. But again, the web special is stiction eliminator orders of $50 or more, get a free 4-ounce bottle of our Diesel Winter Anti-Gel, or a stiction eliminator order of $99 plus gets 2 free bottles of the 4-ounce Diesel Winter Anti-Gel. And then, so it's time for we got to give away free product.
Okay.
And it is our gun oil to some people. So, I mean, if we're going to give it away to some people, how many do you want to give away to? You want to give away to 2 or 3?
Oh, no. Do 6.
You want to do 6? Okay.
Do 6.
And we will do 6. So, we'll go ahead and we'll give one to Chris.
Yeah, Chris Conant.
Chris Conant. Give one to Wade. And then Colin Ellison, Corey Miles, Brian Fedazzo, Jason Smith.
Sounds good.
Okay. So if you heard your name, go ahead and message us and we will get all that information out to you.
We'll drop it in the mail Monday.
So once again, this is the end of the Hot Shot Secret live show here on Friday. The man, the myth, the legend, the CEO, Chris Gabrelcik, and I'm TJ Big Country. Big Country out.
All right. Good job, TJ.